Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
The Suns have a cargo ship full of issues on a night in Atlanta when KD and Book look like the megawatt superstars they are paid to be. Our NBA team managed to sink even lower in status. It was the kind of low-wattage game that makes you wonder if this team even cares about their future or their fate, and if they don't care, why should we? They're getting destroyed on the glass. 4 times in the last 5 games, they've allowed 19 or more offensive rebounds. Even worse, many of these offensive rebounds are non-competitive gifts to the opponent, demoralizing the Suns even further, leading to back-breaking three-point shots. They also illustrate a squishy, soft team with very little toughness, so soft that they don't even respond when being called soft by people like Stephen A. Smith and Draymond Green. That is the systemic issue that has remained despite all the changes to the roster and the coaching staff. Now, in closing, I received a message yesterday from a distraught Day One Suns fan, as in all the way back to 1968 Suns fan, and he used 3 words to describe the current team: unstable, unlikable, unwatchable, and that kind of says it all. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW. Make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
Credit to Atlanta. I think it felt like there were some big defensive boards, some big defensive possessions that we just couldn't finish, and a little bit of shot making on their end. But I think the rebounding, is what kind of stands out, and obviously some plays by them. Credit to them for both the effort on the offensive glass and a little bit of shot making. We got to be better on the defensive boards.
20 offensive rebounds for the Atlanta Hawks led to 27 second chance points. It's Mike Budenholzer talking about the rebounding disparity. 54-37 total rebounds. Onyeka Okongwu, a backup center who played 28 minutes and 10 seconds off the bench, had 4 more offensive rebounds than the entire Suns team had.
That's pathetic.
In 48 minutes.
That's pathetic. So the Hawks team was missing their top rebounder in Jalen Johnson, a couple of their premier scorers, and they just absolutely manhandled Phoenix on the glass. That's crazy to me. 27 second chance points for the Atlanta Hawks. And like I said, if this were the case of a small team fighting but just getting oversized and outsized on the glass, I would be a little more sympathetic to it, but it's not all that. A lot of these rebounds are just effort-driven. In fact, a key moment of the game last night, Devin Booker nails a jumper, ties the game at 101. So the back-and-forth nature of that game, a third quarter in which KD was cooking, Suns got out to a 9-point lead, kind of gave it all back, fell back down, got back in it. So now you're getting up to clutch time, and Dyson Daniels comes up with an offensive rebound that just literally fell in his lap. Mm-hmm. And we've seen that now a few times, where the lack of effort of pursuing a loose ball is jarring, given the stakes. So there you go. I think that's kind of where we're at now. The perception of the Suns as a soft basketball team is something that has been out there. It's been out there recently. Most recently during that podcast, Draymond Green said that Yusuf Nurkic has got a bad case of Draymond-itis. Do you want to know what Draymond-itis is? According to Draymond Green, Yusuf Nurkic threw a punch to get ejected from a game before he had a deal with the Warriors.
Oh, you want to hear this?
I did not quite understand. Well, they were about to play us the next day.
He ain't want no parts.
And he just out of nowhere, picked an argument and then swung.
Yeah.
And I hope that brother got the help he needed. Because
that was random.
Man, it was just out of nowhere. Something's wrong in life.
Yeah.
He must be going through a really hard time in life to just go back and swing like that. Or possibly maybe he didn't want to play against the team that he was going to play the next day. That could be a thought.
Maybe.
But it was just a little surprising
that he would take
to
it
see him swing like that. But then to get pushed on the ground
and cry.
and then start whining about it and grabbing his face. I was really shocked. Yeah, you can't swing and then get pushed on the ground and like grab your face and cry about it. Like once you swing, it was you that kind of said, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And so I was just a little surprised, but that brother needs some help.
Wow. So he's going full level troll on Yusuf Nurkic,
What a
and maybe a
shocker.
little at KD too, because KD kind of chimed in on that as well. But KD, to this day, I think KD did it from a good place. I think he really was concerned about Draymond Green.
Yeah,
but
the
Yusuf
Golden State Warriors were concerned too because they suspended him for quite some time.
Exactly.
There's this big story on ESPN this week about how that suspension has kind of changed how Draymond Green operates on the court. Well, whatever. He's a troll.
Right.
And
Right.
it is interesting. Yusuf Nurkic has missed both games against Golden State this year, but they played after that incident last year. They played after that. Yusuf Nurkic wasn't ducking. Why would he duck him now? Say what you want against Yusuf Nurkic, but that is just trolling for trolling's sake.
No, of course it is. I mean, but that's a real heavy allegation to say you just didn't want the toughness of having to deal with me, so you got yourself you threw or you slapped or swung at somebody and got ejected on purpose. It's patently absurd. We all know Yusuf Nurkic didn't do that, but the point is that a lot of people are very, very freely accusing this basketball team of being very, very soft.
Well, that's the bigger issue in all of it, and people feel comfortable saying that publicly.
That's it.
Opponents feel comfortable when they play against the Phoenix Suns.
That's it. And that's a fatal flaw of this team. That's a common denominator from last year. Dwayne Rankin had a nice bit of writing as well. Our Suns beat writers were on fire and fuego last night. Excuse me. Dwayne Rankin wrote this: giving up offensive rebounds can do 5 things to a team. 1, the obvious, giving up an extra possession. 2, they can lead to giving up a wide open 3, which is very, very true. We've seen that all season long. 3, it brings down all the momentum of getting a defensive stop. 4, it gives the other team energy to keep crashing the boards. 5, it reveals you're not a physical team. It's exactly what I said in the blast. Okay. And that's that last part is the thing that I think is holding this team back. They just don't have the chutzpah.
Oh, God. There were at least, I think it was two of the 20 offensive rebounds for Atlanta that were gathered by Atlanta after the ball hit the ground. That tells you something.
Yeah, it
that
does.
was pointed out on the broadcast as well last night by Eddie Johnson. He said, that ball bounced. You don't see that very often.
Yeah.
An offensive rebound off a bounce.
No.
Look, it's past the point now of acknowledging we have to do this better. Or, Tyus Jones said rebounding is a problem that is costing us games. Bradley Beal said after, we're doing a lot of ball watching people fly by us to grab rebounds, jump over us to grab rebounds. All of this is true. First step in correcting a problem is admitting you have a problem, but they've been stuck on this first step for a while.
Yeah, it's really, really
now
true.
it's got to be, something's got to be done about it. But it just keeps making you wonder, big picture, moving into the future and getting closer to the trade deadline.
Yep.
What is the belief level of the decision makers for the Phoenix Suns that this is the roster or close to the roster that can win a championship?
Right. And that's part of what Kellen is asking today. And if you do believe it is, what are you basing that on? What logic are you using to say, yep, this group can win us a championship?
Yeah, there's been a lot of examples in NBA history where talent just wins out. You roll the ball out there and superior shot making and, marginal effort is going to be enough to win games. The Phoenix Suns are proving that that is not the case with this team this year, that they need to be completely dialed in offensively and defensively, rebounding and all the little things that go into it to win games. When they win games, it's not convincing. When they lose games, it's usually a frustrating slip through the fingers kind of feel.
That's accurate.
And
It's very true.
last night certainly fit that description.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.